Hello, family. This is Refueling Your Faith, and today we're going to be in the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is a Greek word that means teacher, and from this teacher that we're learning just some wisdom that he has gained throughout his life. It's an older gentleman. I'm sure we're assuming that it's Solomon, just continuing on from what we learned so much about in the Proverbs about how to do life. And so this teacher, this ecclesiastical person we've learned from in this book of Ecclesiastes. Basically, I really like how the NIV Study Bible summarizes what Ecclesiastes is, and so I want to just use what they've shared. And so in their notes in the NIV Study Bible, and for those of you who are looking for a Bible, the NIV Study Bible is just so, I was given this Bible many years ago from a church member, and I have just used it as in my studies of Scripture. And so I just recommend it to you if you're looking for a good study Bible. But at the bottom of the scriptures that they at the bottom of the scriptures, they also give you comments about each scripture so that you can get better understanding of it. And so it says Ecclesiastes, the basic thrust of Ecclesiastes is that all of life is meaningless, useless, hollow, futile, and vain if it is not rightly related to God. Only when based on God and his word is life worthwhile. So basic of Ecclesiastes that all of life is meaningless, useless, hollow, futile, and vain if it is not rightly related to God. If it is not rightly related to God. And so as we read through the book of Ecclesiastes, the author of it just shares with you, you may think life is about pleasure. You may think that life is about possessions. But what I realized, and the writer was very wealthy, said, I had all this wealth, and yet it felt like I was chasing after the wind. You get the things that you think you desire, and then once you get them, you want more. It's like you're never satisfied. He says you may labor and work, but guess what? That's not going to bring you satisfaction, because guess what? You can't take that with you when you die. In fact, you have to leave it to someone else who may be wise with what you have done, but it might also leave it with someone who's a fool and may squander away all that you have put your life's work into. And so throughout the entire book of Ecclesiastes, the author just shares with you these things outside of God are meaningless because you cannot be satisfied by them. I love what he says. He repeats this type of statement throughout the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2 and 24. A man can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in his work. This too I see is from the hand of God, for without him, who can eat or find enjoyment? So in this life, your only satisfaction is in being in relationship with God. And this is what the author has learned throughout his life, that if your life is not focused on fulfilling the purposes, if your life is not centered around doing what God would have you to do, your life is useless. Your life is futile, because the things that you chase after, you're chasing after the wind. The things that you chase after, guess what? You can't take them to eternity. They're going to be left behind. And so just enjoy life and be satisfied with the purposes and plans that God has for your life. That's when life will have meaning. That's when life will not be futile, and will not be meaningless. And so the highlighted scripture today is just a piece of wisdom that we've seen in other chapters or other books of the Bible, but I just felt compelled to share it today. And so Ecclesiastes 7 and 9 says, do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the laps of fools. Do not be quickly, Ecclesiastes 7 and 9, provoked in your spirit. Do not be easily offended. Do not easily be able to be angered, because anger resides in the lap of fools. Now, the Bible doesn't call people fools often, but in this case, it says that you are a fool if you allow anger to reside in your lap. We have other scriptures, Proverbs 16 and 32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. He that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. Isn't that powerful? He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. So if you are able to control your spirit, you're better than someone who's physically mighty. He that ruleth his spirit, who's able to control his spirit, than he that can take a city. Somebody who is physically able to take over a city is nothing in comparison to somebody who can control their spirit. It's almost like, as I'm just talking in James, where it says, if you're able to bridle your tongue, that is an amazing thing. And so in the same way, if you're able to bridle your anger, that's something that an emotion that God gives us that is not something that we should be ashamed of. In fact, Ephesians 4:20 says, be angry and sin not. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to have angry feelings. But it is not okay to act on those angry feelings without slowly examining why you're angry. Another scripture says, James 1:19, let every man be slow to listen. To be swift to listen, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and then slow to get angry. Our anger should be slow in coming about. We should not, as our scripture says, be easily offended. We're ready. I love the word haste. Hastily jumps to anger. We're quick to do it. If that is our character, then it is not the character that God has given us. He has created a new thing in us. We are not, the old things have passed away, we have become new. And so we are a new creation. And so we need to begin to pray for God to help us to not be so quick to anger. And oftentimes our anger, it is any of our emotions, sadness, anger, joy are indications that we just need to evaluate what's going on. Just like a car, this is how I've heard it explained, our emotions are like cars. When you're in a car and you see check engine light, it just means that we need to figure out what's going on in our vehicle to figure out that's causing this light to come on. In the same way, our emotions are that same service engine light. We just need to take some time to step back and to understand, well, why am I angry? Why am I sad? And sometimes those feelings are legitimate in terms of, not legitimate, that's not the appropriate word, but we have been wronged, or we have been taken advantage of, or it's bringing us to something that we need to heal, or maybe we need to get away from that person, or maybe we need to have a conversation with someone about how their actions make us feel. But to immediately jump to an emotion without examination and act off that initial feeling is just not wise. In fact, it says that only fools do that. And so it's so important for us when we have emotions for us to step back, to examine them, to bring them to God so that He can share with us, are you believing a lie about yourself or others? Is this an opportunity for you to address the issue and to bring peace to a situation? Or is it something that's within you that you need to address? Whatever it is, don't be hasty. Do not be quick to your anger. In fact, allow God and that to be an opportunity to grow in your relationship with God, because you begin to present even those situations to Him. Even in this world, God gives us anger because there's things that's going on in this world. In fact, He wants us to be Christians that bring justice to a situation. So if we need justice, that means that somebody is being unjust. And so when we experience the fact that there is injustice, that's going to make us angry. But we just don't, without evaluation, walk out on that anger because we make assumptions that may or may not be true. And so my prayer for you is that you would not be someone who's easily offended, that you are someone who can take a step back, that you are someone who can take hold of your spirit and not let it run away from you, but you're able to control that so that God can use that emotion to help bring about change in the world, to others, or even within yourself. And so today you have a wonderful day. I'll be praying for you that you're not easily offended, but that you can take time away and evaluate why you are angry or sad or happy or any of those emotions, and that you would use what God has given us, use those healthy emotions to help you make a difference in this world. Next week, I'll see you and I'll talk with you next week. Bye-bye.